All right, let's talk about chord spellings. The thing with chord spellings is I'm going to let's first talk about the wrong way to learn chords. The wrong way to learn chords is buying a book that has a cover that says something like 10,000 guitar chords you should know. You know, you could buy that book if you live in a faraway place and you need kindling. But if you actually want to learn how to play chords, what you're going to have to do is you have to learn how to spell. And when you learn how to spell, you can start to increase your chordal vocabulary, and it's not hard. So let's take a look at a chord. One chord. Here it is, C. No, actually, let's go C. I was going to say C7, but let's start with just a C chord. You know, this C chord has a 1, a 3, and a 5 in it. The first, the third, the fifth note of the scale of C, right? And what we do is to make it a C7 is we add the B flat. That B flat isn't actually out of the scale of C. The B flat is out of the scale of F. And that tells us that the C7 chord is actually the 5 chord in the key of F, right? So the C7 is not normally a 1 chord; it's a 5 chord. It's leading somewhere. Okay, now that we know that, it's a dominant chord, dominant 7th chord. Let's move up to the key of G. D7 chord, and we know now that the D7 chord is going to want to go to the key of G, the 1 chord of G. Okay, so that's a resolution of the D7 going to G. Now let's do a little bit of spelling. All right, so what I've got underneath my fingers is I've got one root, and then another root duplicated an octave higher, and the third, the major third, right, with that duplicated root, and that 7th, as we did before, making this chord a dominant 7. So now if I take the scale that's related to this chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? There's my 8th, right? If I take it a little further, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So that's a 9. Well, hey, I've got a good idea. Let's add that 9 to the 7th chord, because we've already got a root, right? We don't need 2. So let's put a 9 there. And what do you think this chord is called? It's called the 9 chord. It's a D9. Because we've taken that 8th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, moved it up to a 9th and kept the rest of the chord the same. So now we have a D9. How about a D with a raised 9? So we take the 9 and we raise it. That's pretty easy. So now we've learned 2 new chords, right? So there's a D7 with a raised 9, right? Written D7 sharp 9. Okay, well, if we can raise the 9, we could probably flat the 9 too. So let's take this 9 and flat it. That's a little on the funky side, but it's a very, very useful chord, especially in 2 5 progressions in a minor key, right? But there it is for the spelling right now. There's a D7 with a flat 9. Okay, so far I've got these the chords that we've done are C7, C7 with a flat 9, C9, and C with a 7 with a raised 9. All right, and let's take the root away, because we don't need the root, especially in context. So we're just going to take the root away, and then play a 9 without the root. But how about if we add a 13 up on top? So where would that 13 be? Let me figure it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There it is. It's a B. I'm going to play this 9, and here's my 13. That's a really, really handy and useful chord. D13. If I want to make that chord a little jazzier, I could play that flat 9 again. So here's my third of the chord. Here's my 7th. Here's my 13, and I'm going to play a flat 9. Right? We had that flat 9 before in this one here. And now we have it up here with the 13. Okay. So that's good so far. So now we've got a C7 with a flat 9, and C9, and C7 with a sharp 9, and then we have a D13 with no root, and then we have D13 with a flat 9. Okay, that's all good. Now let's try something crazy. We're going to take this root, and if we take it down a tone, we're going to have the 7th of the chord in the lowest voice. And here's my 3rd, and here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or it's like the 13, right? Only an octave lower. And then we have the root up here on top. Really interesting voicing. And this is called a D13, and a really, really handy chord. And maybe if we want to do an alteration of this chord, I can get rid of that 6 and drop it back down to the sharp 5, which gives me an augmented chord. D7 with an augmented 5. Right, and if I want to add that 9 back again, right, we can just, but now I don't have a root in the chord anymore, so it starts to sound, that one I like, right? So here's a really lovely augmented. Here's a really nice 13. Here's a nice C7, a D7. Here is a flat 9. Here's a regular, just basic 9, and then raised 9, 7 with a sharp 9, and then drop the root 13, and then flat the 9, 13, flat 9. So I'm gonna stop with that many chords. But now what you've got to do is resolve those chords to their one chord, because they all want to go somewhere. They're all dominant 7th chords. They want to resolve to a 1. So let's make it a major 7. G major 7. So check this out. How about the first one, the flat 9, the 9, the raised 9, the 13, the 13 with the flat 9, and the 13, and the augmented. If you want to expand on that a little bit, you can use this chord. And this one is a G6/9. The root is on top, similar to this 13 that we had here, right? And so we have the root on top, the 5, the 9, and the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the 5 in the root. Really lovely chord, and now you're going to have some different options for resolutions. You get the idea, right? So I'm inviting you to spell on the fretboard. Stay away from pictures. Take one basic chord form like this. This comes from this little old humble C chord, and then we add the seventh of that, the flat 7, which makes it want to resolve, right? So we have the same thing here. I'm just moving up the fretboard a little bit, and that chord wants to resolve to its 1, and just know what each of the degrees of the chord are. 1, 3, flat 7, and a duplicated 1, and which we move around a little bit. 1, flat 9, 9, raised 9, right? And so on. That's the way to look at chords. Take one chord and explore the opportunities for that one chord, voicing. I'd prefer to use the word voicing. Let's not use visual words as much as possible. Okay, I think that's it. Oh yeah, well, last thing, you can add the related to chord, right? So you can go 2, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1, and do combinations that way. You'll find a mind-blowing number of combinations. Okay, that's it for today. I hope this was a help for you in terms of chord spelling and how to think on the fretboard. This is where you think. They're right there. And all those numbers, 1, 3, 5, and 7, and all that stuff. It means something, right? It's important. Okay, if you did, and comment. Really, as long as they're not negative, just like who needs that? And I'd be interested to know where you're going, what you want to do, where you want to take your playing, and that's a comment. Okay, and also subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for dropping by, and I hope that this was a help. See you soon.